Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jenny Kroger, and I'm the Communications Director for the FSU College of Education. I want to thank you all for joining us today to learn more about our graduate programs here in the School of Teacher Education. Before I hand things over to our presenters, I just wanted to do a little housekeeping. We're going to start with a brief presentation about our program offerings, admission requirements, funding opportunities. And during this time, we'd like you to let us know in the chat which majors you're interested in so that we can assign you to the appropriate breakout rooms to learn a little bit more about our programs from our faculty. We ask that you please leave your microphone on mute during the main presentation. So if you have a question, we encourage you to post it in the chat. And we also ask that if you haven't done so yet, to please turn off your video just in case we encounter some bandwidth problems. But I think that covers everything. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Kathy Clark, the Associate Chair for the School of Teacher Ed.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for everyone who's here, who's joined us. We're super excited that you've come to find out about the programs, the graduate-only programs inside the School of Teacher Education. To facilitate what Jenny's asked, I'm just gonna start sharing my screen. And, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, yeah, that's just what I wanted to do. Apologies if the presentation is now just taken over your screen. If you don't like it in full video, then you can hit escape to kind of shrink out of the overall presentation. But here are the 12 different breakout programs that we'll have that you can visit today. So if you want to I have this in another slide as well so that you can see it, but the 12 distinct breakout rooms that we'll have are listed here, and the associated graduate programs that we have within each of them. So just to repeat, as Jenny said, if you can drop your name, and we have time for 2 different breakout sessions. So if you can drop the majors that you're interested in, that would be great. I should say that sorry, you just kind of show it again. Even though you might not have an interest in a second program, I realize that there is some overlap. So for example, folks who might be interested in elementary education might want to find out about that, but they might also be interested in a discipline-specific program, such as science ed or English education. So let me go back and again welcome you to the School of Teacher Education Preview Day. We have, like I said, 2 different breakout sessions that you can join in a moment. We're going to start with some overarching information about the programs as well as some important application information. So I'll do a brief overview, and then I'm going to ask Ms. Brittany DeZerga to take over and discuss application requirements and important dates and deadlines associated with the graduate admissions. And she's also going to share some information about funding opportunities. I also have another one that I'll discuss. And then before we go to the first breakout session, we'll just kind of see if you have any questions that have popped up. So if you have questions over anything that we talk about in this short preview of the preview day session, then please jot those down, or I guess you could put them in the chat. Jenny or Brittany, are you able to monitor the chat for those just in case? If not?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So like I said, I'll just kind of flash this one more time for the 12 different programs. So as Jenny said, I'm Dr. Kathy Clark. I'm the Associate Director in the School of Teacher Education. Brittany DeZerga is going to share in the presentation today. She's has a large fancy title, the Academic Program Specialist. Brittany has a partner in crime, sort of in the School of Teacher Education with regard to some of our programs, and she'll explain that, and her partner in the program, Ms. Jeannie McDowell, who's not with us today, but you can get the information and contact information for her. And then, as you can probably see on your screen, there are faculty representatives from those 12 programs to share out. So they'll each kind of go with the interested parties into the different rooms. So in the School of Teacher Education, we have graduate degrees that we grant in the program that we call a curriculum instruction. This is a common kind of degree program that you'll find in colleges of education, especially related to teaching and teacher education. We also have certificates that are available in 2 of our programs that also have degree programs, the Autism Spectrum Disorder program and the Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. Within the School of Teacher Education, we have 32 faculty members across 11 different majors, and some of those, as you saw on the first table, cross over multiple degree programs. We do have, I feel compelled to say this in the time of the pandemic, but we do have fully online master's programs in curriculum instruction. This fully online program is for practicing teachers or educational professionals, and we have that across 7 of our different majors. And we also have, like I said, these online programs as well in ASD and TESOL, but you can also do that as a certificate. So I feel, like I said, compelled to mention that. Hopefully, though, we will be back to normal soon, but if not, then these are, I realize, appealing to folks who want to continue their graduate education, at least with the master's or certificates in what in their professional fields. So I'm going to hand it over to Brittany to share the specifics about applications and admission requirements.
Hi, everybody. So as Dr. Clark mentioned, I'm sharing my contact information and the contact information for Jeannie McDowell on the slide. You can always contact either one of us. If you're not sure which program you're really taking a look at, we'll make sure you get in touch with the right people. But it's easy to think about it. I do the campus, master's, specialist, and PhD programs and the graduate certificates, and the online TESOL, Visual Disability Studies and Autism Spectrum Disorder programs. And Jeannie is the contact for the BSMS pathway, which we're not talking about today, but I just wanted to mention it in case anybody is seeking teaching certification. And she is in charge of the online curriculum instruction master's degree program. We're available to help you with any questions that you might have about the application process, and to troubleshoot any issues that you run into while you're applying to our programs. For me, currently, I would recommend using email for the first method of communication, just because, as you can probably tell, I'm working partially in the office and partially remote. This is my home office today. But if you don't reach me in the office by phone, please feel free to leave a voicemail, and I will call you back. Dr. Clark, could you switch to the next slide? This is our application requirements, and these are for all of our programs. So you're going to notice we have them separated out a little bit for our master's and specialists and our PhD. The application just generally is in 2 parts. I get this question a lot. So somebody will be entering in their academic history and just their general information, and the application asks them to click submit. Please click submit, because that takes you to part 2 where you're going to upload all of these materials into your application. It could be a little confusing, but it's okay to click submit. You're not locked in right there. You can still upload documents. You'll notice that the GRE exam is going to be waived for spring, summer, and fall of 2021 for our master's and our specialist applicants. That's something that the university decided due to the current global situation. And so it's something that you might be able to take advantage of if you're applying for this term. Transcripts, something to note is that even though we do require that your final official transcripts are on file, that for the application review, you could submit your unofficial transcript copies, and that's something that we can review in the initial review. It might speed up the process for some of you. It's sped up the process for a lot of other applicants. One thing to note, if any of you are international applicants, that we do require a language proficiency exam. This is a university requirement. But if you have a completed degree in the US, like a previously completed degree, please reach out to me. We can request a waiver of that requirement through our admissions office. And the only other thing I'll mention, because some of these are pretty straightforward, is that for the letters of recommendation, the process that we use here is you, as the applicant, will enter in the information for the people who are going to submit letters of recommendation. They'll receive an email and they'll submit the letters directly to the university. Sometimes if they have trouble with the application, they can submit them directly to me. Please feel free to provide my email address if they need it. And that's all I have for the application requirements. The deadlines, these are here, these are our deadlines. So the first one you'll see is for our funding considerations. So some of you, I noticed, have already mentioned that you're interested in doctoral applications. So December 1st is the early funding deadline that you're gonna wanna look at for fall 2021. The deadline coming up next is November 1st for spring 2021 admission, and that will be for all of our programs. If you're looking at summer, it will be March 1st, 2021. And for our fall application for our master's programs, you can apply as late as July 1st. So there's a lot of time if you're looking at fall 2021 to still apply. Thank you. So regarding funding, these are just some of the funding options that you have at the university. We definitely have several options that different offices who help our graduate students with funding. The first one I wanted to mention was within the College of Education. So we represent the School of Teacher Education, and we are within the College of Education. And they have a lot of different funding opportunities that open up yearly, starting in January for students to apply. They can apply typically through March. And those are different kinds of grants and such that are awarded. The graduate school has funding, which is typically available for incoming graduate students. It's definitely worth looking at that page because lots of the funding has individual deadlines that you might want to look at. And then when students are admitted, they might want to look into the Office of Graduate Fellowships and Awards. They help students apply for outside funding outside of the university. Excuse me. And then the Center for Global Engagement helps our international students to secure additional funding. So those resources are reserved for international students.
I just wanted to add on, sorry, Brittany, were you finished?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah. I just wanted to add on that in addition to the programs that Brittany has shared, that we also have another opportunity within the College of Education, which we've been asked to share by one of our other departments in the college, where you can become a Purpose Fellow once you're accepted at Florida State University in the College of Ed. And Purpose stands for Partners United for Research Pathways Oriented to Social Justice and Education. I won't read all the bulleted items to you, but what's exciting about this particular program is one, it's of course very timely and very present in the social milieu that we find ourselves in, but it also provides another opportunity for students to earn a stipend that allows them to develop research skills, present at conferences. So the total annual stipend is just over $6,000, but it has as a kind of a, if you will, a mentoring and development program associated with it. So it's, if you're interested, there is a website here, www.purposetraining.org. So I think what I will do is we're just about on schedule, and I thought I would open it up to questions that folks might have just overarching that they'd like to ask.